This week, Ravens fans had a real scare. Lamar Jackson walked off the practice field in pain, and suddenly the rumors started flying. Was it serious? Were the Ravens hiding something? The entire fan base held its breath. But then John Harbaugh finally broke the silence. He gave a full update on Lamar's status, and the way he explained it completely changed how everyone sees the situation. Trust me, you'll want to stick around, because the details might surprise you. The Baltimore Ravens stepped onto the field against the Washington Commanders and flat out controlled the game from start to finish. The final score? 30-3. That kind of blowout doesn't just happen. It showed how locked in and prepared this team really is, even in games that technically don't matter. If you've been following the Ravens for a while, you know this has become part of their DNA. They take every snap seriously, no matter the context. What's even more impressive is that this wasn't a one-off. The Ravens went undefeated in the preseason again, keeping alive a streak that feels almost like tradition under John Harbaugh. Preseason for Baltimore isn't just about trying out lineups or getting rookies some reps. It's about reinforcing a winning mentality. The message is loud and clear. Every game matters. That mindset builds confidence. New players immediately sense the seriousness of the team. Veterans stay sharp, and the fan base gets even more fired up heading into the regular season. Winning is contagious, and a lopsided score like 30-3 sends a statement across the league. The Ravens mean business. Of course, we all know preseason success doesn't guarantee anything once the real games start. But keeping that winning streak alive is symbolic. It shows commitment, discipline, and a culture that refuses to take shortcuts. Baltimore isn't treating these games like glorified scrimmages. They're building something bigger, mental toughness and competitive edge for the grind ahead. But as much as this week was filled with excitement, there was one moment that cast a shadow over all that positivity. Lamar Jackson leaving practice early. Despite all the hype and the Commanders' beatdown, the main headline this week wasn't the scoreboard. It was Lamar Jackson. During Wednesday's practice, he walked off early, flexing his right wrist. At that moment, nobody really knew what was going on. And when it's your two-time MVP quarterback, even a small scare feels like a disaster waiting to happen. The reaction was instant. Reporters buzzing, social media speculation, and whispers that maybe this was something more serious. The Ravens staying quiet at first didn't help either. With Lamar, every detail is newsworthy, and this was no exception. Things got worse the next day when Jackson didn't practice at all. That absence raised even more eyebrows. Was he going through additional tests? Were the Ravens downplaying it? When it comes to star players, these kind of narratives pop up instantly, especially when it's a guy like Lamar. In just a few hours, preseason optimism flipped into real fear. What if the quarterback who drives this entire offense was actually dealing with an injury? But then came the official explanation, which completely changed the storyline. When the dust finally settled, the truth came out. Lamar didn't hurt his wrist at all. He had simply gotten his foot stepped on during practice. A totally normal accident. Something that can happen anytime guys are flying around at full speed. But in the heat of the moment, that small scare spiraled into a full-blown drama. Here's the thing, though. The explanation didn't fully calm nerves, because Lamar still sat out the next day. The Ravens said it was just precaution, giving him time to rest a sore foot. Even so, when your entire offense runs through one guy, every missed practice feels magnified. This is what happens when you're a superstar. If any other player got his foot stepped on, it probably wouldn't even make headlines. But with Lamar, it's front-page news because of how important he is to Baltimore's season. In the end, the scare was a reminder of just how thin the margin is for the Ravens. One injury to Lamar changes everything. That's why every little detail is monitored so closely. And that's also why John Harbaugh decided to step in and address the situation head-on. At his Thursday press conference, John Harbaugh shut down the speculation once and for all. He confirmed Lamar went through X-rays right after the incident, and the scans came back completely clean. No fractures, no structural damage, just soreness in the foot. That update lifted a massive weight off everyone's shoulders. Knowing your franchise QB isn't dealing with anything serious is the best news possible. Harbaugh made it clear. Holding Lamar out of practice was just precautionary, the smart move to avoid a minor issue turning into something bigger. The way Harbaugh delivered the news mattered, too. He spoke calmly, transparently, and with confidence. That tone doesn't just ease the fan base. It reassures the locker room. When the head coach sounds certain, everybody else takes a breath. And by being so open, Harbaugh also cut off any narrative that the Ravens were trying to hide something. But what really stood out was the personal side of his answer, the way he described just how relieved he felt.
All right, we're already past the halfway point of this video, but before we continue, I noticed you haven't left a like yet. It's really important because it helps YouTube keep showing you my content so I can keep bringing you the best news about the Baltimore Ravens. So go ahead and hit that like button. It's free and it really helps. Thanks. Now let's get back to it.
Harbaugh admitted he was nervous when Lamar walked off. He even said he prayed it wasn't anything serious, and when the test came back clean, he called it an answered prayer. That right there shows how much losing Lamar, even temporarily, would shake the entire team. When a head coach speaks with that kind of honesty, the message is crystal clear. Lamar's health is everything. He sets the tempo, he creates the impossible plays, and he makes the Ravens legitimate contenders. The fact that the scare turned out to be nothing more than a bruise gave the entire organization and fan base a massive sigh of relief. That sincerity also strengthens Harbaugh's bond with the team. Players know when a coach genuinely cares, and that builds trust. A tight-knit locker room starts with little moments like these, where emotions and leadership intersect. So yes, the scare had a silver lining. It reminded everyone just how vital Lamar is, not just to defense, but to the entire Ravens identity. But of course, that didn't stop the rumor mill from spinning. Before Harbaugh's press conference, plenty of people believed the Ravens weren't telling the full story. That's the reality when you're dealing with a superstar. One unclear moment, and the rumors explode. The image of Lamar flexing his hand was all it took to spark theories about a wrist injury. That snapshot became the foundation for hours of speculation. And every hour without clarification only fueled more anxiety. This is how the NFL news cycle works. If a team doesn't speak up quickly, doubt fills the void. And when the player in question is Lamar Jackson, the face of the franchise, that doubt gets amplified 100 times over. In the end, it was nothing more than a misunderstanding. But the lesson is clear. With Lamar, silence is an option, which is why Harbaugh's final comments about his return were so important, and even had a bit of humor in them. When asked if Lamar will be back on the field Monday, Harbaugh didn't hesitate. He gave a definitive yes, showing complete confidence that the quarterback is good to go. That one answer instantly reset the tone. Everything's back to normal. And Harbaugh didn't just confirm it. He joked about it too. That lightheartedness sent a strong signal. Inside the Ravens building, nobody's panicking anymore. It also underscored the idea that holding Lamar out was simply precautionary. With the regular season right around the corner, there was zero reason to risk anything in a preseason practice. Harbaugh's confidence made that perfectly clear. At the end of the day, the message couldn't be stronger. Lamar Jackson is fine. The scare is over. And now all eyes are on the season ahead, with number 8 healthy, locked in, and ready to lead Baltimore into battle. In the end, this whole situation was a reminder just how much Lamar Jackson means to the Ravens. The scare turned out to be nothing. The tests were clean, and John Harbaugh made it clear there's no reason to worry. His honesty and the team's relief showed that Baltimore is in a great spot heading into Week 1. So here's the real question. After this little preseason drama, will the Ravens be even more protective of Lamar going forward? One thing's for sure. With their MVP healthy and ready to roll, Baltimore is set to make a serious run in the AFC.
And if you, just like me, are passionate about the world of football and want to learn more about the Ravens' legacy, don't leave this video without sharing it with that friend who is also a Baltimore Ravens fan and will love this content. See those video suggestions on your screen? The first one was handpicked just for you, and the other is a recommendation from YouTube itself. See you there, and until the next video, go Flock.